It's been a long time since I've done a game room tour. Actually, it's been a long time since I've created any content for this channel. I sincerely apologize to the dozens and dozens of Rob's Arcade fans out there, but there is a valid reason for this. Due to some personal reasons I don't wish to discuss here, I no longer have an arcade. But I do still have a game room. Let me take you all on a quick tour.
All right, let's check out the game room. I turned this light on over here because it actually is pretty dark in here, even though I have all the accent lighting. Normally it's off, and I just kind of let all the lighting show, but I turn it on so everybody can have a good look at what we're dealing with here. So I'll shut it off in a little bit and give everybody the full experience, and hopefully that translates. But we start off, I've got a lenticular arcade sign that points to my Bills stuff, since I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. This is Bills territory, and I got to represent my team. Over here, I've got these candy machines that the candy is so old, I wouldn't even give it to anybody on a dare, but it's just good for show. Here is my arcade 1-up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Countercade. At my old residence, I didn't have the space to put the 4-player cabinet, so this was like a nice alternative, and even though the screen is small, it still feels exactly the same. This is one of my favorite games of all time. More on that later. But yeah, this is a good representation. I got a Foot Clan Pixel Pal, that's a tongue twister, on top of here just for added lighting. Down here, I have a little charging station that is meant to look like a old-fashioned change machine right next to a Neo Geo Mini. I was playing Shock Troopers, which is one of my favorite games. I'll plug that into a little projector and shine it on a wall and play old Neo Geo games on there. Right here are my motorized recliners, probably the most comfortable chairs I've ever sat in. So comfortable that if I put on a movie after 9 o'clock at night and sit in them, next thing you know, it'll be 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm waking up with the end credits on loop. So yeah, these chairs have stolen quite a bit of life from me, but they're super, super comfortable, and I love them to death. And then we'll go over here. This is a newer purchase. I got this Black Friday last year, $75. NBA Jam was one of my favorite games, and again, I didn't have space for it at my old place, but this was another quarter stealer. I also wanted to have something, it's on top of some storage right there. I wanted to have something that would match the Ninja Turtles countercade that I ordered over there, and this whole area back here, just to add a little bit of symmetry, and plus, you know, to be able to have versions of two of my favorite games. We'll look at the wall decor real quick, just a bunch of movie posters from some of my favorite movies. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Although I like Raiders of the Lost Ark better, I think this poster looks cooler. Avengers. Terminator, which is a bit of a theme there. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, if it's not my favorite movie. Some lights and some X-Men figures. Terminator 2. Aliens, which is another one of my all-time favorite movies. Big Trouble in Little China. A little guilty pleasure here, but you know, still a great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Just, you know, leave your brain at home if you're watching it. And Predator, classic film there. So I'll take a look at the arcade cabinets over here. Starting off with the Marvel Superheroes cabinet, which is playing X-Men Children of the Atom, which is one of my favorite games. I spoke on that before on the channel, but I first saw this when I was at college at like this little corner store, and since I didn't have a lot of money, I would take my laundry money. My mom's going to kick my butt for hearing this, but I would take the quarters that I would use that I was supposed to dry my pants with. I would hang my stuff on hangers and go and play this game for a little bit. But I was terrible at it too, so that money was not well spent. But now I own it, so this one has Marvel Superheroes on it, The Punisher, X-Men, Children of the Atom, so this is a really good purchase and one of my favorite cabinets. The original Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet, I know that Arcade 1-Up has had a couple re-releases, but I am happy with this. Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3 on here. So Mortal Kombat 2 I play the hell out of. I love this game. Right here's a newer edition, the XMen Arcade, the 4-player cabinet, which has Avengers Galactic Storm, which I am not a fan of. That game is kind of trash to me. But Captain America and the Avengers was one of my favorite games. Another one that when I was a kid, we would go to Putt-Putt and spend quite a bit of money on these games. So, yeah, a good portion of my teenage money that was made working at McDonald's got thrown into these arcade cabinets. So, again, I have some X-Men figures on top of here to match. There's Street Fighter 2. This was the first arcade 1-up cabinet that I ever bought. This was a game that I spent quite a bit of time on in my teenage years as well, so it's kind of cool to actually be able to own a piece of my childhood. I played this quite a bit when it first came out, but unfortunately this one probably gets the least amount of play now. Actually second least, because the one next to it doesn't get much, but I had my share of fun with it, and every now and then I fire it up and I enjoy it. Nice little trip back to the past. This is probably my least favorite cabinet, but I still enjoy it. Final Fight, 1944 The Loop Master, Ghosts and Goblins, and Strider on here. Final Fight is the game that I really only play on here, but there was a part of me that wanted to replace this cabinet with the X-Men 97 cabinet, and then I pretty much kicked myself because I'm like, why would you go and spend all that money on a cabinet that has most of the games that you already own? So I decided to pass on it. I'm going to keep this here until something new comes up, or just be happy with what I got. I've got the X-Men stool, the Ninja Turtle stool. Right down here is a Ninja Turtles, excuse me, NES controller rug that I got from Temu. And let me tell you something about Temu. You get what you pay for in there. This is not what it looked like when I ordered it online, but it does the trick. But a little funny story here. So the lineup of this X-Men video game I saw on Temu had a blanket. So I'm like, oh, this will be cool. It gets a little chilly. I have some blankets stored over here, just in case, since I'm right by a big picture window and stuff in the wintertime. So I get this blanket, and I hope you can see this because this is something right here. Thinking it's a full-size blanket, this thing wouldn't even cover a Cabbage Patch Kid. But it does have the lineup of all the X-Men from this arcade game, so I'll find something to do with this at some point. I don't know. But right here I've got my console set up. Mortal Kombat 1 is playing now. Some signs just showing theater and all that stuff. A little fireplace. Inside of here I have the Xbox One S, Xbox One, there's a Wii U, Xbox 360 is in here, and an Xbox One. Also, there's a Switch Lite in there that I just pull out when we sit in the recliners and play. So, but yeah, Mortal Kombat 1, pretty cool game. Plus, the chance to play Peacemaker on there is awesome because that was one of my favorite shows. And also to use Peacemaker to beat up Homelander from The Boys is always entertaining to me. Here is my Marvel Pachislo, which is a Japanese slot machine. So I've had this for years. My daughter is 16. And I remember when she was 2 years old, I was teaching her how to count on this by putting the quarters in. So she called this her monster game, and she loved it. So, I mean, you can call me a bad parent for having my kid learn how to count on a slot machine, but straight A student now, kind of awesome. So I think I did a good job. Right here, I've got a bunch of NECA figures from some of my favorite movies. There's a Kyle Reese one that is actually behind the area. It looks like it fell down for the 500th time, so we might leave it down there for a little bit. Got a RoboCop movie poster. Here's some framed autograph photos that I just printed off of Google and just framed. This one up here, it's got the glare from the light on it, but it has the whole cast on there, and since a lot of the people who are in that picture are no longer with us, I'm not going to see them at any conventions or anything like that. So I just started collecting autographs, and I just thought this would look cool because these are just high quality pictures on here. Right here I've got the Terminator 2 two-player arcade cabinet, which I needed to have just because of the fact that I'm a fan of the movies. I do wish this came with more games on it, as the price point for just having one game is a little bit on the high side. But I did get this when it was heavily discounted, and I'm very happy with it. Yeah, my daughter and I actually beat this one time and one time only. And if we were in the arcade playing this game, we probably would have spent $400 on it because I don't know how many times we hit that credit button. Up here, I have a life cast of Arnold Schwarzenegger that I got from eBay a few years ago. Allegedly, this is supposed to be an actual cast from Terminator 2, but when I look at it, I'm 6 feet tall, and when I look at this and hold it up to my head, it looks a lot smaller. So I know Arnold is like 6'2". If he was 5'7", this would be believable, but there's something a little off about it. But I like the way that it looks. I like the fact that it does look like it's an actual cast of his face, and then it kind of fits this whole area over here very well. So, and one more once around here, and this is my gaming space. So, again, there are tons more extravagant areas, gaming setups and stuff on YouTube. This is mine. This has everything I need. Would I like to have more stuff? Of course, but I am completely content. One of my favorite things to do is just sit there in these recliners. I've got 5.1 surround sound, which I'm sure that my neighbors love because it does shake the floor. But just to sit here and either watch a movie or play some console games. Real quick, let me shut this light off, and hopefully I can get a good view of everything with the lights off and kind of catch the effect. But yeah, so here's the turtles. There's the wall, all the arcade stuff. Screensaver popped up for that. Fireplace. And this corner over here. And that is the end of the arcade tour, but that is not the end of the episode of Rob's Arcade.
Hadouken!
I've often been asked what my favorite arcade game of all time is. Truthfully, there are so many that I absolutely love that it's very hard to choose. I mean, Street Fighter 2 is definitely up there, and so are the Mortal Kombat games, especially Mortal Kombat 2. NBA Jam is another one of my favorites, and I've done quite a few quarters into the XMen Arcade game over the years. If I'm forced to choose one game, I'd have to say it's probably the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game by Konami. I've spoken about my love of this title previously on the channel, and I can vividly remember the first time I played it. I was walking through the local mall with my family, and as we walked past the arcade, I heard a familiar sound.
Cowabunga!
When I turned my head, I saw the Ninja Turtles arcade game in all of its glory. I begged my mom for some money to play it, and I was amazed when she magically produced a game token. The single token didn't last long, but I fell in love with this game. The Ninja Turtles game I had at home on the NES was nothing like the one in the arcade, and I was so blown away by it that I actually sat down and drew a comic book based on the first level of the arcade game. Unfortunately, I no longer have that comic, as a lot of my artwork from my childhood was destroyed when my basement flooded a few years ago. But as a way to honor this memory, I decided to recreate that short 5-page comic as an adult. Here's what I came up with.
your prayers, Doidle.
Cowabunga!
And that's a wrap on, unfortunately, what may be the last episode of Rob's Arcade. I've been going through some major personal problems of late, and my work schedule and my full-time job is so demanding that it's very hard to produce these videos at a high level of quality. I may come back and revisit this in the future, as I've really enjoyed producing these. I love everybody's feedback, and I think that it's great. But I'm also at the point in my life that for a show based on nostalgia and things that I loved in my childhood, it's time for me to move forward in my life in all aspects possible. I still love all this stuff. I love the video games. I love the cartoons. I love drawing. I love drawing for all my player twos that experience all these classes and everything. So I just wanted to take this moment to thank everyone for all the support over the last few years of doing this. All the people that donated to Patreon, I appreciate that. This undertaking got expensive at times, having to buy equipment, props for some of the goofy experiments and skits and things that I did. But I just wanted to thank you very much. I appreciate all the support and everything that I've got over the years. So this may not officially be done, but this is done for now. And again, as I stated earlier, if the demand comes up and maybe I get the itch again, maybe I find some time, maybe everything in my personal life starts to get together, I can come back and revisit this. But I gotta say, goodbye for now. This isn't goodbye forever. This is more of a maybe I'll see you later. Thanks again, all my player twos and everybody who supported this channel for the last few years. Take care.